Gumball Game Tier List. Let's go. This was made during the airing of the first season episodes alongside Suburban Karate Master and Schoolhouse Rush. There is only 15 levels, with each one getting harder. The goal of the game is to get enough rings and do a cannonball. The gameplay, while simple, is alright, nothing too out of this world, but you can still have some fun. Also, fun fact, if you click, your character makes a different pose, which is cool, I guess. With that said, I give this a solid B tier for having stellar background music and decent gameplay, but will get repetitive and is really short. So if you got 10 minutes, try this game out if you will. Going to be real, this game kind of sucks. From the menu, this might look like a cool retro beat-em-up game, kind of like Scott Pilgrim vs. the World the game, but nah. It's an endless runner. I refuse to play this game any longer since some of these endless games are not worth my time. I'm only going to put it at D tier since it was an early Gumball game. Now we're getting to the really good ones. Despite it being a copy of that one My Gym Partner's a Monkey game, the game is pretty good. It's the first Gumball platformer, and for its time, it was really good. And hell, this is the first Gumball game to support widescreen support on Flashpoint. Now how about that? The controls are pretty simplistic, but since there is a whole lot to explore, you can get used to them quite easily. However, there are a few setbacks, such as this game's short length, and the third level's boss, if you can even call it that. Regardless, this is my first A tier game, and so far this is the best one. Remember that one episode where Gumball became a Discord mod to get someone out of a line? Yeah, this was in the same episode as this game, Stellar Odyssey. Honestly, this is better than the last endless game we talked about. For one, it can be fun at times, jumping from planet to planet, kind of like Mario Galaxy. And since I am a Star Wars fan, hence the parody named Stellar Odyssey, this game can be quite fun. However, the grinding for a character can get tedious, which does put it on a lot, and the weird error where Penny uses her design prior to the shell. Isn't there someone else that is hairy that could have been Chewie? Sadly, going to have to put this in C tier. It could have been something better than just a generic endless game. Going to speedrun talking about this since this game is very devoid of anything interesting. You jump on candy canes to get to the top, but watch out for birds, and you do that for 6 levels, and that's literally the whole game. Going to have to put it in D tier. At the very least, it's not as bad as the next game we're going to be talking about, Rhythmic Romance. Okay. This game is just trash. Not even joking, I think this might be the worst Gumball game of the batch. Despite it being 5 levels, do not take no prisoner, you're going to mess up a lot. And it doesn't help when the music is horribly out of sync. Take a listen. This just hurts Pinball, honestly, and for that, I'm putting it in F tier. God bless your soul if you're ever beating this game. Now that we're done talking about the worst game of the batch, let's talk about one of my favorite Gumball games, Nightmare in Elmore. Despite it being another platformer, this one is absolutely great fun. The game has great controls and some pretty great level design. And to add some more content, you can obtain more health by doing quests. And this game got me into speedrunning. Only negatives are that you'll be using your mouse from time to time, and some bosses can feel pretty lackluster. Regardless, I think this game is an easy S tier. I do not care what anyone says about this game. We can argue about it in the comments section. I say that the age between 2014 and 15 was the golden age of Gumball games because this is one of them that was released within this period. The game is an RPG, not being too big on them. I say this one is really good. The game makes really good uses of the Watterson trio, giving each one a unique role, Gumball being the swordsman, Darwin being the tank, and Aeneas being the healer. It's another great game for speedrunning and was one of my first ever games that I did speedruns of. The game also gives a reason to go into an area more than once, which is quite nice. Only negative thing I can say is that the final boss is kinda what? Also, after the final boss, where did Tobias go? But regardless, this game is another S tier game, and I am glad we got 2 in a row. I saw this game on TV being promoted almost 10 years ago. Needless to say, I was hyped to play this game and man was it a banger. The game is quite unique from the rest as all the other games felt quite similar. The goal of the game is to defeat all of the enemies using a bowling ball, but don't worry for you have a few power-ups at your side. However, there will be some obstacles and walls that will get in your way. It's another game that makes use of the Waterson trio, each one with pros and cons. Gumball is the tank, Anais is the heavy hitter, and Darwin is speed. They also have their own unique stomp move like Gumball becoming a Giga Chad, and after you complete the main game, you can test your skills and probably try and break the game in endless mode. Some flaws I can say is that the game can get crowded especially in the late game, which is quite annoying, and the fact Gumball isn't that good so he's akin to 3D World Mario and that he's got nothing good and being basic is his trait. But for that, I am putting it in A tier. Going to group both of these in here as a speed round. Elmore Breakout has you playing Fortnite and building bridges to safely reach the other side of the ground that is actually visible, while Sky Streaker has you play as Richard as you climb as high as you can. I honestly enjoyed Elmore Breakout more since you can't take your time and the controllers are more fine and dandy there. Sky Streaker, not so much. I don't like how the game controls in Sky Streaker. It's more fitted for a mobile game rather than a PC game, but at least it's not rhythmic romance so it gets D tier. For Elmore Breakout, I guess we'll give it a solid C tier for being better than Sky Streaker. Final game for the first part, Hard Hat Hustle, which is made by the people that made Nightmare in Elmore. The entire game has you go through 24 levels trying to find Darwin. Damn, Gumball cannot catch a break with losing Darwin 24 times in the same day. As the game progresses, there will be more obstacles such as enemies, spikes, and a box with spikes. The game also makes use of the screen warp kind of like Super Mario Bros. 2. This game is also good speedrun material for I had done runs of this game and completed it 100% in under 8.5 minutes. A few problems with the games are that the hitboxes sometimes just don't feel right and having to push those dang boxes especially on level 22. With that, I'm giving it a tier. Anyways, stay tuned for part 2. I've been Kirby Masters 87, and I'll see you next time. Bye.